This is the Concord Municipal Affordable Housing Trust. It's Tuesday, September 26, 2023, and it is 5:05 p.m. And our first order of business is a call to order by roll call, and I will call the roll of the members I see on the screen. Mike Lawson.
Here.
Rich Feely.
Here.
And Keith Bergman here. Linda Escobedo. Not here. Carrie LaFleur, not here. So we do have a quorum, 3 members present. Next item is approval of minutes. Since we just met last Tuesday, I have not, and I was getting ready for our 7 o'clock appointment with the Community Preservation Committee tonight. I do not have a set of minutes from September 19th, but hope to have those at our next meeting. Next item is implementing housing production plan, production strategies, comments on the draft, trust funding procedures for priority projects as they become ready to proceed. And last Tuesday, September 19th, the trust voted to circulate a draft set of funding procedures and guidelines to our Housing Roundtable partners, and inviting their comment by tonight's meeting so that we could adopt them and have them in place. The documents are divided into 2 parts. Part 1 is guidelines for housing production plan implementation, priority project sponsors who are applying for trust funds. Part 2 is the grant application form and instructions, which includes guidelines for submission of the application, the instructions on how to fill it out, and the application form itself. What I said I would do is compile any comments received by tonight and produce a revised draft. I had only received 1 comment, and it was from Select Board member Mary Hartman, and I've had sent out a revised draft last night to trust members, doing as best I could to incorporate those comments. And so I'm just going to call them up on the screen so you can see. Let's see, we'll start with part 1. And this and now I have to scroll down. In this part 1 document, the change is on page 4. No, here. We have a page that talks towards the end that talks about the housing production plan itself and implementation. A couple of comments that Mary made were around selection criteria, which are mentioned earlier in the document. I think it's on page 2. We have a rather long set of selection criteria, which is actually lifted from 2 documents that the Select Board has approved. And we need to go back to the Select Board to get approval of any changes. So I was thinking that we may want to do that at some later date, but I don't think that we can do it now. So one of the, Mary's suggestions were around adding information about demographics with seniors and families, which I thought one way to do that might be, since the only mention of the seniors and families is really in the housing production plan document itself, that what I could do is add on this page 4 a reference to applicants familiarizing themselves with that housing production plan report, and then seeing that it's the way it's organized, that there is a chapter 3 that talks about demographic profile of the community residents. So I think that was about that is my suggested way to address that one. And then I'm going to stop sharing this one and share another on part 2. In this document, there are, let me scroll down, the changes that are proposed are to the application instructions under the budget. Mary made a suggestion that we might want to prompt the applicants to remind us what funds have already been appropriated for or made available for their project. And to note what additional funds they're requesting, not only from the trust, but from other sources, and then to produce a total project cost from that. In words, that was the sort of information I was hoping to get, but I took the comment that maybe if we put in some sort of a format for a table to be filled out, that might prompt responses. So I've come up with categories of trust funding, other town funding, and then specify what it is over in the comment. And then non-town funding, also specify, and then do that for funds already in hand and for additional funds requested, and get a total. And Mary's comment was, it was helpful that when, for example, the Finance Committee is reviewing these sorts of requests, there's not often a history of what money was put into a project beforehand, and it's a helpful snapshot to indicate what the funding history has been, and also what other funding is being pursued. So those were the only edits that I proposed, and those were the only comments that were that we received. So I was going to ask invite any further comment now at this meeting, and if not, we could have a motion to approve these in their final amended form. Any comments at all?
I think you've handled them well. Thank
Yes,
you.
exactly. And I'll go so far as to move approval as amended by you and
Motion by Rich to adopt an amended form. Second by Mike.
Yeah, I guess it's up to me, isn't it?
Second by Mike, or else.
Right, business.
Right. So is there further discussion? All right. So on the motion to approve an amended form, roll call vote. Mike?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
And Keith? Aye. All right. So that passes. Thanks very much. And actually, and it was important to me that I be able to tell the Community Preservation Committee at 7 o'clock that we have the procedures in place that will allow us to implement in a thoughtful way, the monies that we received in our trust fund, including the money that they have generously donated to us as well. So I appreciate it. Next item is the grant funding applications. We are to CPC and ARPA. The Community Preservation Committee meets at 7 tonight. I think they're reviewing 6 of the applicants tonight and more on another night. We are the fourth of 6 applications being heard tonight in 20-minute intervals. It's a presentation of project goals by the applicant, questions from the committee, and then public comment. And I did up the board had approved the form of a slideshow for that to make a quick presentation to the CPC. I've got that down to 7 minutes just from practicing today. So leaving plenty of time for comment later on. I welcome attendance from other trust members and other housing partners at that meeting tonight. So thanks. Also, the Housing Authority's request is on the agenda tonight. The CHDC's and the towns must be at a later date. On the ARPA funding round, I did meet with Megan Zamuto, the deputy town manager, yesterday. No news yet on what the timetable for that will be, but she and Kerry both know that the trust is interested in applying when the opportunity is opened up. So that's all I've got to report on our funding applications. Any questions or comments on that? All right, next item is legislative update.
Quick question.
Yeah, sure.
Is this just virtual or is this an in-person?
It's virtual. Yeah, it's just on, it's only on Zoom tonight at 7. Which is I'm sure that the public hearing that they hold will be in person and at a later date. I think that's in either later in October or November. Okay, next is I put legislative update here in case Rich had any updates from the LOHA Board of Directors or otherwise on anything that might be happening out there in the world.
Yep. Well, as I think I reported last week, we met with Senator Moran and Rep. Cusack's staff. And there seems to be increasing confidence that something approximating the transfer fee will be in the housing bond bill, which is due very shortly. And we're meeting with Secretary Augustus, who I forget what the department is called now, but he's essentially the Secretary of Housing,
Right.
On Friday. So, and we're having serious talks about, well, if we get into negotiations, what would we be willing to give up and what wouldn't we? I think the bottom line is that if it passes, it'll, still be favorable to implementing Concord's home rule as we have passed it.
Right. Very good. All right. Well, thanks for that. Thanks for that update. And we're all keeping a close eye on news from the State House about when the housing bond bill comes out and what the policy provisions of that bill are, which could, we hope will include things that Concord can use in its toolbox. That's great. Thank you. Any questions for Rich? Okay. Any public comment? Oh, hi, Carlin Reed.
Hi, Carlin Reed, 83 Weedside. I'm a member of the Finance Committee, but I'm speaking on my own behalf. Got a question about the ARPA and CPC applications. Do I remember it correctly that it's going to be an either or, 500,000 from that?
No, it's cumulative.
Or the full $1 million?
Yeah. The trust, the application that the trust approved submitting to the CPC identifies that we would be applying for 500,000 from both the CPA and ARPA. So that is our official fundraising goal.
What's the unofficial fundraising goal?
5 million.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Oh, the transfer fee would get us about $2 million a year.
Right. So yeah, yes, indeed, that and as soon as the transfer fee passes and as soon as town meeting then adopts it and we move forward, I think even now with the procedures that we're putting in place, that we're aligning ourselves to be able to take on that additional responsibility, provided that once we get, and this is a big proviso, provided that once we have a revenue stream that is recurring, that we will have recurring expenses such as housing development staff support. And I made that pitch again with the town administration and know that they are know that they are looking at lots of staffing issues for lots of things the town is doing, and that we're on their radar screen. So we'll
Do we know if there's been any movement at all on the building permit surcharge?
no,
Since
nothing.
it would, oh, sorry, go ahead, Keith, you're probably better than I am.
Yeah, I'm going to say the hearing was held by the Revenue Committee, but it was never reported out. Has not been reported out yet. And I check our the pages at the legislature website. Well, at least once prior to every meeting that we have, so I can. And there's been no movement on either of our home rule petitions yet. In fact, there have been no hearings held on any of the real estate transfer fee home rule petitions. They're all in the Revenue Committee, and none have had a hearing. Yeah, so perhaps they'll get lumped into a hearing on the housing bond bill or something, which will be heard by many committees. So,
Thank you.
thanks. Okay, scheduling our next meeting. I think I would like to get back to you on that and see if there's a Tuesday at 5 o'clock that works for Carrie and Linda as well. I'm thinking that we might want to look at meeting sometime in mid October. I'm away next week, going to Austin, Texas, not because it would have been my choice of where to hold the International City County Management Association convention, but that's where it is. So that's where I'll be. My wife asked me if I was going to be staying in an unsafe neighborhood, and I see where my hotel backs up to the Texas state capitol. So I guess the answer is yes. And I won't be carrying. So just, if anyone.
Make sure you set some time aside to go to the LBJ library.
Yes, that's just a few, that's about a half a mile away from there.
Cool.
Looking, so I've got that on my schedule. I'm looking forward to that. All right, so just to see though, would your calendars work for, say the either the no, it can't be the 10th because it's a select board meeting that night. I am in Provincetown on the 17th, so perhaps the 24th, Tuesday the 24th.
Why is the select board meeting on Tuesday?
To talk about the 40B.
Oh, okay.
I asked them if they would invite. In fact, I believe we'll be invited to that meeting. So,
Keith, would you let us know? Because I'd certainly show up for that one.
sure. Yeah, very good. So, so possibly October 10th select board. And so let's look at the 24th for the next trust meeting, and I'll confirm with all five of us that the 24th works as a meeting. Very good. So we are at the point where we could have a motion to adjourn.
Well, it'll be my
Oh.
pleasure.
Mike,
Second.
move, Rich, second. And on the motion to adjourn, we'll do a roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
and Keith, aye. So motion passes unanimously, and we are adjourned at 5:25 p.m.